The recent Nintendo Direct about Super Mario Maker showed off many new features that are going to be coming to the game. Some of these features are ones that we had previously known about, but Nintendo is just now elaborating more on them, but some of them are brand new reveals. But like many recent Nintendo presentations, it seems, the stuff that they ended up revealing didn't end up garnering most of the attention. Most of that was drawn to the topic of this video, which is mainly this screenshot that I took from the Direct right here. And in this screenshot, you could see in the list of game themes, there is a section that is called Extra Styles, and this Extra Styles wording is plural, meaning more than one. This means that Super Mario 3D World will not be the only new game theme being added to Super Mario Maker 2, and it confirms that there's going to be at least one more added in. If this wording wasn't enough for you, just look right beside the logo for the Super Mario 3D World theme, and you can see that there's a space that is the perfect amount of size for a new one to be inserted. This news obviously excited me because I had been speculating for a while now about some possibilities for new game themes for Mario Maker 2. The inclusion of the 3D World theme was a really good idea, and I'm glad that it's going to be in the game, but now that we have even more to look forward to in this department, I'm really excited. So now we know that a new theme is coming, but why did Nintendo opt not to show it in the Direct? It seems like they would have the perfect opportunity to show off this big new feature for Mario Maker 2, when almost all the eyes of the fanbase are on this presentation, right? I'll be going over some reasons for this within this video, and also what I think this new theme could potentially be. And near the end, I'll talk about some new features that Nintendo showed off within the Direct that kind of stood out to me. And with all of that being said, remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel so that you don't miss any new content, and let's get started. The first reason that I want to go over right now for why Nintendo didn't want to show this theme in the Direct is because they're probably waiting for a big reveal at E3. Nintendo over the past few years has focused their E3 presentation on one game in particular. Go back to 2016 with Breath of the Wild being the focus, 2017 had a heavy focus on Odyssey, although to a lesser extent, and last year most of the attention was definitely on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. For this year, it's kind of expected that Animal Crossing will fill that role as the big thing that Nintendo's going to focus a lot of time on, but Animal Crossing may not garner as much hype as those previous three games that I mentioned. Animal Crossing has a really big fan base, but not as big as Mario, Zelda, or Smash Bros. So would Nintendo want to save some really big announcements for this E3 presentation to fill in some of the gaps for maybe people who aren't big fans of Animal Crossing? And by saving this big reveal from Super Mario Maker 2, a brand new game theme, as a reveal during the E3 presentation, it's a way for them to show off something brand new that people are interested in without having to show off an entirely new game. Spending time on a brand new game reveal is really something that's expected at E3 for most of the announcements, but when you have an opportunity to get people really excited about what you're showing off, and you don't have to spend all the resources to show off this brand new game, and you could show off one that's already announced, that's definitely an opportunity that you want to take advantage of. And Nintendo deciding to do something like this would really get Mario fans excited before the game's launch, because E3 takes place just a couple weeks before Mario Maker 2 is set to release. But with all this information being said, do I think this is really likely to happen? Maybe, but I'm leaning more towards the unlikely side, and I'll explain why. I just think that this may be a little bit too soon before the game's release, and potentially 2 weeks before the game comes out, most of the people who are on the fence have probably already made up their minds on whether or not they want to purchase Mario Maker. If there was an opportunity to show this off, I still think the best opportunity would have been in the Nintendo Direct, when you're getting everybody who at least has some sort of an interest in buying Mario Maker 2 to watch the presentation. So you would want to go all out with all the features possible in a presentation like that. But Nintendo ultimately decided not to do that, so if E3 isn't the time to reveal this new feature, then when is? This leads into the next possibility that I want to talk about, and that is this theme is being saved for a free update post-launch. This was one of my initial thoughts on Twitter when I was talking about my thoughts about the Super Mario Maker 2 Direct, and it was mainly because we've seen these free post-launch updates work so well with Splatoon as an attempt to keep the player base engaged post-launch. The philosophy was that Nintendo didn't really know how big of a success the original Splatoon was going to be on the Wii U, considering that the console wasn't the biggest success in terms of sales, and this was a brand new IP. You could understand Nintendo's perspective on this, but the original Splatoon got an enormous amount of popularity, so this idea to keep the fanbase engaged with free updates wasn't really of the utmost necessity, but it was still fun to see in that you could go on the game and check in with all this new content coming over a periodic basis. I believe Nintendo would just carry this over to Splatoon 2 to sort of call back to how the original format was. But Mario Maker on the Wii U didn't show signs of the player base getting tired of the game, so maybe engagement wouldn't be the main reason that they would want to do a free update post-launch. It could be that the theme is planned but is simply unfinished, so they're just saving it for later. A lot of times in the development process for a new game, you have features that are planned to be included inside of it, but are not done when the game releases, so you have to save them for later. And this could definitely be the case here, because if this new level theme is based off of a newer Mario title like Super Mario Odyssey for example, and Nintendo may not have planned to include it into Mario Maker 2 until they saw how successful it turned out to be financially for them. Odyssey is sold very well on the Nintendo Switch, so it would make a lot of sense for Nintendo to include a theme from that game into Mario Maker 2. It would draw a lot more eyes to it. But then again, Odyssey came out in 2017, that's 2 years ago. Nintendo was likely planning this since last year and were probably able to get the development done by then. They could just be waiting on a potential Odyssey 2 to base this theme on. Potentially a sequel to Super Mario Odyssey is being planned and they want to include features from that game in this theme, but are going to wait for its announcement as to not spoil some things that are going to be in Super Mario Odyssey 2. That's my idea for how this theme could be saved for a free update post-launch. I think it would make a lot of sense for a Super Mario Odyssey theme to be based on a free update, considering how many people on the Switch know about Odyssey and would be interested in something that is for free being added to Mario Maker 2, and then they'll go purchase the game because of that recognizability. However, what if the option is not a free update and instead is a paid DLC update? This third idea states that content from Mario Maker 2 may not be rolled out in terms of free updates, but could be something that you pay for. A theme being released as paid DLC may be based on a modern Mario title, but as I was just talking about, Nintendo would probably want as many people playing the Odyssey theme as possible, since that game is new, still on the Switch, and probably get more sales for that, and Mario Maker 2 at the same time. There would be good synergy there. So I'd like to think that paid DLC would probably be a retro-based theme for longtime Mario fans, or at least a theme based on an older Mario title that's not on the Switch. This is because they don't need to constantly promote a retro game as they're not trying to sell it, and it's just a callback for people who are really interested in it and prey on their nostalgia. I have many ideas for what this retro theme could be, but you have to keep in mind that they all have to be relatively unique because the extra game styles are not compatible with the original 4 styles that were in the original Mario Maker. These styles all have to have something about them that obviously doesn't cross over to the original styles. I'll go over some ideas, both 3D and 2D, starting with the 3D ideas. I already touched on Super Mario Odyssey potentially getting converted into 2D, and I made an entire separate video about that on the channel as well. The other 3D theme idea that I made a separate video about was Mario 64. This one would be a great idea because there are so many people who loved Mario 64, grew up playing it, and would recognize all the things that Nintendo decides to include from the game. Mario 64 contains many different kinds of levels, and they would all sort of coincide with the themes already present within Super Mario Maker 2, so not much originality has to be used to come up with brand new level themes. Another 3D idea is Mario Sunshine, but this probably wouldn't happen because the vast majority of the game takes place on a beach setting, so more original concepts would have to be made to fit in with some of the themes added, like winter for example. The Mario Galaxy games are possible as well, but I think they're even a lower likelihood than Sunshine, just because the whole planet concept I can't see being implemented in a 2D environment very well. But maybe Nintendo only wanted to convert one 3D Mario game into a 2D style, and are saving this extra style to be a 2D title that they are reviving for Mario Maker 2. Super Mario Bros. 2 would definitely be a unique one, as it was based on Doki Doki Panic and later turned into a Mario game. This led to it being a much more unique title than most of the other 2D Mario games. Multiplayer was revealed to be a component in Super Mario Maker 2 though, and considering that the different characters had different abilities in Super Mario Bros. 2, do you think that would be carried over as well? Verticality is emphasized a lot in terms of the levels in Super Mario Bros. 2, and since we're getting vertically extendable sub-areas now, it could be used in conjunction with this theme very easily. It would also be interesting to see what they would do for the bosses here, because Bowser would probably have to be replaced with Wart, considering that Bowser wasn't in Super Mario Bros. 2, and Wart was the main villain of the game. Super Mario Land is another possible 2D style that I see brought up a lot, because there are unique elements to those types of games compared to the others as well, especially with the enemy variants. But I don't think Nintendo would make people go out of their way to pay for a gray theme that just looks bland. Like Super Mario Bros. 2 as a potential theme, it would be interesting to see Wario and Totanga implemented as bosses. But that pretty much wraps up my thoughts on what this new potential theme will be, and why I think Nintendo decided not to include it in the Direct. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below, some theme ideas that you have, and some possible reasons that you're thinking of for why Nintendo decided not to show this theme right now. But before you go, I want to touch on some other notable features in the Super Mario Maker 2 Direct that I really found interesting. I already touched on the vertical subworlds, but this is a great idea, and so many amazing level concepts could be created with it. Many people tried to create Zelda-themed levels in the original Super Mario Maker, but it didn't work out very well because they didn't have the vertically extendable levels. Well, now they do. The dry bone shell is something that I found very interesting. It kind of came out of the blue, really. I think it's really cool. You could use it in many ways, such as hiding from enemies and surfing over lava. The night theme is an amazing addition, and I love the unique changes that they put into it. The removal of gravity is a concept that I could see creating so many unique level concepts. Something that was only seen in the Japanese Direct that you may not know about is this hammer, and it's very interesting. It's shown as a power-up in the 3D World theme, and I would immediately think that this is something based on Captain Toad's hammer, because the Captain Toad game started in Super Mario 3D World as something on the side that you could play. But this hammer obviously looks different compared to Captain Toad's. This could be the hammer suit from Mario 3, but it hasn't been shown in that game's item list yet, so I'm not really sure. It'd be weird for Nintendo to include the hammer suit in the Super Mario 3D World theme and not the game that it originated in. An object that you could place now in levels is the swinging claw, and I really like this idea because you could drop enemies from it and you could swing around. It reminds me a lot of the vines from the new Super Mario Bros. Games, which were a lot of fun. That's it for the features that I really wanted to talk about. There's many other great ones that were shown in the Direct as well, such as the poison mushroom, for example, but that's really all I want to touch on today. There's also many new features that are continuously being revealed after Super Mario Maker 2's Direct. If there's anything major, I'll try to keep you updated on the community tab on this channel or on my Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. Check out some of the previous videos that I made about Mario Maker 2 with the links on the screen right now, and I'll see you next time.